After some time on the road, the Flames settle in for a 4-game homestand against the mid-Nashville Predators.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me here today. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. I'm Jess Belmosto, and I've been covering the Flames for almost 5 years now, so it's been quite the journey here, and thanks for hanging out with us. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Today, we're going to talk about what to be watching for over these next few games, especially tonight against the Predators, as well as Zary being back at center. And we're going to kick off the show with why being at home right now for the Flames truly matters. Make sure you are subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. So, as we know, the Flames had a go of it on the road trip. Obviously, they came back, had one game at home, and then was back on the road against the Canucks. And I mean, I believe it was 5 different cities in 8 days, or 5 games in 8 days, 5 cities in 8 days too, and that's a lot. That takes a lot of wear and tear on the body, but they had 2 much needed days off after all of that travel, after 3 different time zones, and tonight they settle in, they hunker down at home against the Nashville Predators, and then next week they take on the Islanders, Rangers, and Wild. I think that this homestand really offers them a chance to kind of regain their footing and recenter themselves and regroup a bit because, obviously the hustle and bustle is similar, right? Because you're still practicing, you're still going to team meetings, you're still conditioning, you still have to drive to the rink, but it's not the same. You get to sleep in the comfort of your own bed. You are in your own settings. You're not in a stuffy, I'm sure they stay at very nice hotels, but you're not in a hotel room. You have your own things around you. If you want to go get your favorite coffee because you're craving it, you can. And can do your routine, right? We know that hockey players are very habitual people. So being at home helps. And I'm hoping that this little stint at home offers them a chance to kind of build off of some momentum, or they're going to fall further down the slippery slope. I personally think that Dustin Wolf is holding this team up a bit in terms of why they're sitting 5th in the Pacific. I just think that he has performed very well and outperformed much of the defense, and that has been pretty clear. And I think both goaltenders have done that. However, they can't score goals. I mean, goalies, sure, they can score on an empty net. Why not? But, it's not like they're out there taking shifts. They have a job to do. But they are tied with Vancouver and Edmonton with 19 points. The loser point, they've got 3, kind of holding them in the game. Otherwise, they would be further down in the standings if there was no loser point. The loser point, as we know, can be a deal breaker. Just a few years ago, the Flames finished the season with 17 loser points and finished just outside of the playoffs. Had that not been the case, would have had a much better draft pick. And, I get that we're going through this transitional period where draft capital is important, and there's no denying that. Like, you can't You can't argue that. And there is not a win now mentality, I would say, amongst ownership or management or even the fans and the players. I mean, obviously players want to win, but like let's be realistic here. You know, I'm not saying tanking is the answer because we know teams are never going to lose on purpose. But I do feel like the further we're moving into this season, the less frequent we're going to see what we saw at the start of the season. Where I do not think we're going to be seeing many 4 or 5 goal games going forward. Obviously, depending on the opponent, but the Flames offense, as we know, has been incredibly unproductive, has been very tough to watch, honestly, in some points. And they need to figure out how to reinvigorate this offense, inject energy into it, sometimes it really feels like they're allergic to shooting. It really does. And that's not fun because personally, I like to watch hockey when my team scores. I think that that's what everyone wants. And we deserve to see that. And I don't understand what the hesitation is. And maybe there is something bigger than I don't know. I truly think, like I thought with Rasmus Anderson over the summer, that it was a confidence issue. I think that, some players just get in a slump, they get in a rut, they get in a drought, and there's just no confidence to shoot the puck because they're like, well, might as well pass since my last 8 shots haven't gone in, or whatever the case may be. So they have to find something to build off of at home, I think, if they want this team to be anything more than a basement dwelling team at some point in the season. But coming up next, we're going to talk about Connor Zary returning to center, and I am very excited for that. And we will be right back after this. I love a great deal as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to crawl through a bed of hot coals or walk on Legos just to save a few bucks. It has to be easy. No hoops, no BS. So when Mint Mobile said it was easy to get wireless for $15 a month with a purchase of a 3-month plan, I called them on it. Turns out it really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month. The longest part of the process was the time I spent on hold waiting to break up with my old provider. To get this new customer offer and it's your new 3-month plan, premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/locked-on. That's mintmobile.com/locked-on. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/locked-on. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. And I want to talk to you guys about one of my favorite Christmas gifts to give, as well as receive, and that's Omaha Steaks, because nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code NHL. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. I get my in-laws this every year. It's been like 3 years running now, and they love it. It's great. It is never a bad idea. You can't go wrong. From legendary steaks to mouthwatering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code NHL and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off OMAHA steaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code NHL. Minimum purchase may apply. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me on today's episode of Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following the show wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. I always look forward to your comments, so thanks for hanging out. It was reported yesterday at practice that Connor Zary was back at center. This was like the greatest day for me and many other people on Twitter. We rejoiced. We had some sort of moment of clarity, and we are very grateful for that, and we're so glad Ryan Huska finally saw the light on that too, because he's a great winger. Do not get me wrong. I think he's fantastic. I want them to sign him long term, but there could be a missed opportunity if you do not put him at center. Let's do that. Let's work on that. He played center all through his development, switched to winger, and there just wasn't really a need for it in the AHL, and they just put him on the wing. So last spring was the first time that he'd played center professionally, and so it's good. He was great. It's very good to see. So he is centering Jonathan Huberdeau and Yegor Sharangovich, and he was tasked with face-off duty on the Flames' top power play unit, which is so exciting because you know why? He's a good hockey player, but he also isn't afraid to chase the puck, to create those rebounds in front of the net, and just get that traffic going. That's the one thing that I truly enjoy about Connor Zary, is that there is no quit. Your effort is not done until it is done, till someone steps in and says it's done, like the ref. I think that he's a great net front presence. I thought that Anthony Mantha was as well, but obviously he tore his ACL. So I believe it was a non-contact injury too, which is even crazier. But Ryan Huska explained on Thursday that, in my opinion, you'd rather have 12 forwards that are all centermen. It's so much easier to go and play on the wing. You can work off the wall during practice. You can do all sorts of different little things, but a centerman's a different animal for a lot of different reasons. Some of it's responsibility that comes with it. You're expected to control the play a little more. Yes. And I think that Zary is absolutely capable of doing that. We've seen it. And I think even as he sees more time in the NHL, he's obviously, I don't want to say still developing, but he hasn't hit his ceiling. There's so much more to Connor Zary, and the more we see him at center, the better it's going to be. I am fully convinced. And honestly, Ryan Huska has referred to Zary as the Flames' best forward through the month of during the month of October, throughout the season. So I'm just gonna say there's a level of trust and faith that Huska has in Zary. And Huska was talking about how Zary is a lot faster than a year ago, and he's been quicker with his decision making. Huska says we want him to control the play a lot the same he does as a winger. What comes with it is the added responsibility of a lot of times you look to your centerman as an extra defenseman on the ice. So he has extra responsibility. We don't want him to get away from what he does well. We want him to continue to handle the puck, control the play, and now you add a little bit of extra responsibility. So we want to make sure that he's capable of doing that. I think that this is something he is very capable of. I think that, you know, because he spent a lot of his developmental years in as a centerman, he knows what it takes, and he would not have been in that position had his coaches and everyone felt otherwise. He is a great winger. So if they saw him better fit as a winger, they would have put him there. And for me, I think that this is kind of the opposite of Martin Pospisil. I think Pospisil is a better winger, at least from what we've seen. Um, and Zary is like he's equally good on the wing and um, the center. So you know he has the energy, he has the tenacity, he has the resilience and relentlessness of anyone who you want to be leading your team. Connor Zary is someone that the Flames really need to invest in, and I think that giving him this opportunity to play at center is continuing down the path to success. And I mean, we could truly see a Zary extension at any time now. I would love one yesterday, but can always get what we want. But this is a good sign. I know that things have kind of been like, oh, here we go again. Flames doing Flames hockey. Experience Flames hockey, right? But these are the moments in this season that JD Young talked about, like what you can look forward to when your team is rebuilding. And it's positive progress being made by these young players. And Connor Zary is one of those players. Matt Coronado is another. We just need Pospisil to get on board. I think we are very close. We're so close. Someone just has to like push him in line and be like, okay, now stay there. So we will see where things go tonight against the Nashville Predators. I'm looking forward to it. I think that, we're going to talk about it more coming up next, but they're on the second half of a back-to-back against an Oilers team. So, who knows what that might be. We'll be right back after this. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. I love the FanDuel app because it is so user-friendly and so easy to navigate as someone who is not overly familiar with sports betting. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-plays, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That is FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Jess Belmosto. With this homestand coming up, I wanted to kind of regroup and recenter ourselves, right? Because there's been a lot that goes on. There's so much that goes on, especially hosting a daily show. And that's why I love doing daily shows, because there's always so much to talk about. But there's different categories every week, right? Like there's different things you can watch for. This week, or at least this game against the Predators, we're going to look at Connor Zary. We're going to be watching him at center. I want to see how he does on the power play, especially at the centerman position. What is he bringing to the table there? Is this something that can, really bring something in and get the power play going? Even if it's not, it doesn't even have to be top 5 in the league. Just something better than it is now, because I honestly wish the Flames could decline every power play because it's just atrocious. And What are you watching for? Obviously, how he does on the faceoffs. How is he playing defensively? Is he controlling the play? Is he still, able to keep up to speed? Is he making those quick decisions right? And just overall, how does he look? Does he look comfortable? Does he look like the odd man out on the ice? I think we're going to eventually see Zary, really moved up in the lineup. I know he's kind of been switching and flopping everywhere, but I think that we're going to see him eventually stabilize a first line. I think that that's going to be the case. Um, he's young, he's fast, smart, talented, your best centerman most nights, or really, Huskin just calls him the best player. So, Kadri's pretty good too, and I'm sure Kadri has offered him tips, and um, they have a special relationship, especially with Zary coming in last season and playing on Kadri's wing. I'm sure he has a lot that he can learn from. But let's also take a look at Dustin Wolf. He is 4-1 at home this season. And is this something that he is capable of building consistently on? Is this something that is the only reason the Flames are winning at home? Because what if it's like a 1-0 game? Are the Flames winning? Are the Flames really winning? Or is it Dustin Wolf standing on his head night after night? It's a good question. I think that, obviously the defense is weakened. And some stuff is just gonna get by you. Like, you can't stop every single shot. That's the goal, and, you're expected to do that, but it's unrealistic. Unrealistic to do it night after night after night. Um, what do his performances say about the team in front of him? Is there a ton of traffic in front of him? Are his shots getting screened? Like, what is happening when the other team, like, what leads to the team scoring? Is it him? He's very rarely ever out of position, if ever. So is it a situation like that? Or is it you know, something where a defenseman, like, I think a few years ago when Chris Tanev had like 3 deflections and they all went, like, they were own goals. So is it something like a deflection? Is it something where someone could have blocked the shot? It, like, realistically, I'm not asking these players to lay their lives in front of a 75-mile-an-hour puck, but is this something that someone could have done a little bit better? Or is Dustin Wolf really just that good? Uh, I I have a lot of faith in Wolf. I have a lot of faith in anyone that consistently puts on good performances night after night, even when the circumstances aren't great. And that's why I think I admire, Nazem Kadri, Connor Zary, Mackenzie Weegar, Rasmus Anderson so much. Because, that's a group of young guys and veterans, and they've seen it or they haven't, and they're still putting in the effort, putting in the work. They're not phoning it in, and that is important. Even if you know you're a bad team, like, these players aren't stupid. They know the condition of their team. They know the realistic outcome for themselves. They are in the room. They are on the ice. They are witnessing this firsthand. I don't remember where I was going with that, but they are they're there. They know what's going on. So even if the goal is to just make it through 82 games, the goal is to make it through 82 games. You want that top 10 draft pick. Realistically, I would love a top 5 draft pick, but I'm not out on the ice. I can't be a bug in that locker room saying, "Don't block the shot. shoot the puck. Like, I can't do that. I can do that from my house, but that's not fun. I don't have fun saying, like, I yell at them, telling them to shoot the puck, or I just look at them in disgrace. It's one of the many pleasures of being a sports fan, but just watch the effort and energy guys are putting in. I've seen Huberto do it a few times where, like, he'll just give up on a play. More so defensively, but there are some times where, he doesn't shoot it off with, like, energy or, like, conviction. It's just like a, "Meh, okay." And it's just what good does that do? Sometimes goals look effortless. Other times you have to, like, do something. Please. And that will do it for me here on today's episode of Locked On Flames. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend and enjoy the Flames tonight. I'm still a few hours away, but enjoy yourselves. Have a great weekend. Remember to subscribe to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. Your team every day, and I will see you next time.